Warning: the following program contains adult language, adult themes, and spoilers. Viewer discretion is advised.
It was cool, nothing fire, nothing broke.
Good evening, and welcome to this week's episode of This Week's Episode. I'm your host this week, Karen Randazzo, and with me as always is ruthless, leg-breaking soccer star Kris Randazzo.
Statistically speaking, airplanes are still the safest way to travel.
A bored soccer mom, Evan Goldstein.
I will keep this baby out of spite.
And overly enthusiastic equipment manager, Angie Fernot.
I want to lead New Jersey out of the wilderness.
This is episode 254 for the week of June 9th, 2022. Tonight we'll be discussing Yellowjackets Season 1 episode titled simply Pilot. But before we get to that, here's your weekly reminder that you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com. Tell us what summer shows you're most excited for, or tell us what you like to go outside in the summertime, what you like to do when you go outside in the summertime, if you're like a normal person.
Ew.
Or-
Gross.
Just for the love of God, tell us something, because we always want to hear from you, the listener.
It's true.
So, how's everybody doing?
Well, before we started this episode, we shared some woes. But
Whoa.
we do have a cool update that we can share. Sorry, Kris, this is like the second night in a row you have to hear about it.
What?
I was interviewed by a local magazine this weekend.
That's so awesome.
Thank
Wilma.
you. Yeah, it's a Wilma. It's a women's magazine in my town of Wilmington, because it is my town now. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, because I definitely am on the record saying something about wanting to take over the world. And if I can't have the world, I'll just settle for Wilmington. So,
Okay.
yeah.
My favorite part about this whole experience is, like, I'm really proud. I'm very super happy for her. Like, she interviewed, and we had this young lady come into the house to photograph her in the studio. And I know my wife's past of, she was a model, and she's very comfortable in front of a camera, unless it's for her, which it was the two most awkward people taking photographs I've ever seen. To the point where I don't know what to do with my hands. What do I put them here? Is this?
I literally said that at one point, and the girl who was taking the photo, like, is not the kind of photographer who gives direction at all. She was like, "I just want you to feel pretty," and I was like, "Am I pretty?" So it was really funny, and also she looked so young. She was 27, and I was like, "You're a fucking liar!" Like, I was ready to card her.
Half of her face was covered with a
It
mask.
still didn't matter. She just had she had this
youthful
ridiculously youthful physique and young eyes. Yes, she did. She had very good skin.
Her forehead was amazingly smooth.
It was no acne. And there's a lot of humidity down here. It doesn't make sense.
I get that. I get that a lot myself, because I look younger than I am, and I had this issue tonight with my son's therapist, where she said something about, like, she said, like, "I think you're a cool person, John, and, like, even though I'm an old person, like, I think that should mean something to you, and even though you're a younger kid." And he was like, "Well, how old are you?" Like, Jesus H. And so she's trying to, like, gently step around it. And I was, like, trying to help, like, well, she's, not as old as Mom. She's probably around the same age as Mommy. And she was like, no, I'm probably older than Mommy. And, like, I ended up, and John blurts out my age to her. And she's like, "Wow, way to go, Mom."
Nice.
Like, thanks, it's genetic.
This hotness is genetic.
I wouldn't go so far as hotness. Just
I would.
youngness.
I'm saying it. You're beautiful.
Thank you. So are you. So what have you guys been watching?
Do you need
so
the
boring.
Do you need the list, honey?
No, it's such a short list.
Okay.
Nothing has changed. I'm terrible. Actually,
That's not
something
true.
has changed. I'm watching less Walking Dead because I've gotten to that point where I can see why people drop off of it. But I did read up on episodes of Walking Dead, and it says that season 9 was actually one of the most critically acclaimed seasons, and one of like, I think it was considered possibly the best season of the show, and like a total comeback, like the best season since the first season, and like all this other stuff. So I'm currently on episode 3 of season 8, and I don't know how I'm going to get through this season. I might have to watch it at 2 times speed.
I've done that.
Yeah. So have I, but not for like a dramatic TV show. I've done it for YouTube videos and lots of other content that wasn't a television show, and this will be the one that breaks me.
I did it for the last episode of Inventing Anna because I was trying to finish it before the podcast, and I was like, it's an extra long episode, and if I don't watch it at like, a higher speed, I'm not going to get through it in the time I have.
Yes.
Gotta squeeze this hour and 45 minutes into this, 1 hour section that you got.
Pretty much.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so that's been the majority. I've also been like watching episodes of 30 Rock. I'm now further along in that show than I've ever gotten, and it's just kind of funny the humor that they have on that show that I know would not fly today, and it's like weird because there's certain parts of it that make me a little bit sad that like it wouldn't fly today because it's still like progressive
Funny.
people that are like that are funny, but they're, I don't know, it's just, I guess it's the context, or maybe I'm just a bad person and I just have poor taste, but I love Tina Fey, and it is a show though where like I'm watching it and like Tina Fey's character on that show is not really a good person. Like,
Oh, no.
Nope.
she, like, Liz Lemon is kind of terrible.
That whole show
and-
is full of horrible people.
Yeah.
Just different variations of horrible, except for who's the young intern?
Kenneth, the page. But
Yeah.
I also think part of that is a ruse. I don't know. It's like the long con.
It's a Colombian drug lord. We just don't know it.
Listen, there's little, because they make like little nods. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a thing. But anyway, all that to say, yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't often enjoy watching a show where I know it's like bad people. Like Seinfeld is one of those shows that I've tried to go back and watch, and like that they're not good people, but the people who like the show think it's funny. And I thought maybe I was gonna, I guess, have a Seinfeld-esque experience, and I'm not. I'm enjoying this, and what I think I like about it is that sometimes like characters are learning lessons. Like Liz will do something shitty and then she has to face the repercussions of that, where on Seinfeld I didn't really feel like that ever seriously happened until the end of the show.
And
So-
they didn't even actually really deal with the repercussions. They faded to black after being arrested, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So-
yeah, you were the one who told me about that, so I didn't even know like the full ending. But yeah, so that's the majority of what I've been watching, and then I dabbled a little in The G Word with Adam Conover. I'm actually
Oh, how
quite
is
liking
that?
I didn't think I was going to be that into it. It's
Do you like Adam Ruins Everything?
I mean, I have only seen like clips of it, but yeah.
So it's that show, but it's all government based. It's really informative. It's quite interesting, and they do both sides of the spectrum. So it's positives and negatives. It's not just because it's executive produced by the Obamas, which I definitely thought was going to lead it down towards the pro government path, but it's not. They tell pretty much everything that could be or not. So it's actually really informative. A lot of things I did not know.
Cool.
And it's Adam Conover, so like he is a single trick pony. Tells you what you need to know, kind of thing.
But
So,
he does it creatively. Yeah, that's.
well, we caught up on the Young Rock.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
was-
say
I thought
that's
that
it
was
for
fun.
my solo stuff. So
Young Rock was a lot of fun. I enjoy watching Young Rock with you because it gets to the point where it's wrestling that I know,
yeah,
and to see your excitement for it, because it's the way the show is broken down. It's like 3 different time periods. You're like really Young Rock,
Yeah.
middle Young Rock, and just right before the Rock became the Rock. And now that third storyline is like he's just getting into the WWF.
Yeah.
And we're seeing all of the wrestlers that I recognize as other, like, you know, they're played by actors, but their actors are like spot on.
It's scary. It's
like
uncanny.
voices and like mannerisms and everything.
Yeah.
So they're doing a really entertaining job with that. And the kid who plays the oldest of the young Rocks, it's spooky how much he looks like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, I'm really like at some point I think I'm going to end up doing research on like how they found this actor and cast the show, because he does it like it's like mannerisms, but even like some of his bone structure looks similar. Like it's so weird.
You remember that picture that was rolling around the internet for a while with Dwayne Johnson in a black turtlenecks, jeans,
Black
and
turtleneck, I was going to ask.
yeah. So it looks like that guy is acting like now. Currently. So it's really neat to see. Caught up on The Rookie, which, I mean, it's still The Rookie. Halo, tried watching that again.
Yeah.
Not working. We're trying. It's just not working.
It's not grabbing me.
I don't know why. It's just not good. And flag means death.
Our flag
You
means death. We
finished
didn't.
it.
No,
We didn't.
Did we?
No.
We're at
Oh my
8?
God.
Yeah, we're at 8.
We are 2 episodes short.
So we're
Kids,
almost
give
there.
yourself an hour and do it.
We haven't had an hour together. I'm not even
Well,
shitting
stop
you.
it.
Last night we had to like panic watch the episode for tonight at
Oh,
like
I'm
10
sorry.
o'clock at night. No, it's not your fault, but it's literally just been like that. Like I have my freaking schedule right now has been insane. Like my calendar is so full of meetings that like I don't know what the point of the fucking calendar is at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're working mornings. I'm working afternoon, evenings ish. So maybe we'll get 1 episode's worth of time together in the evening. But like last night, we watched Yellowjackets. The night before, we watched The Boys because we still hadn't even started that. And oh my god!
Did you guys?
Talk-
Did you
Oh my
guys?
God.
Did you guys start it?
We saw the first 2.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure we're talking about the new season.
The new season, we
watched.
watched the first episode, and oh my god!
I explained that to Dan, which is what convinced him he's going to start watching the show. Because he was-
I don't know why
I
you were
was
being
like-
so tactful while explaining it to Dan. It's Dan.
How did one explain that episode with tact?
No, it
Because
wasn't
for
even the
anyone
whole
who
episode.
doesn't know, there was penile entry and then explosion.
He only explained that scene.
Yeah,
And
that
it
was all it took.
It was so, I don't want to say tastefully, because still the subject matter is horribly not tasteful, but the way Kris explained it was as if he could explain it to someone younger and say, no, I shouldn't watch that, but oh my god.
Like, it was already going pretty fascinating, but then when he sneezed, it's like, oh shit!
So we're watching that.
Never
and
seen that.
as
I
soon
can't say I've seen that on TV.
as soon as so when he shrunk and he entered, as soon as that happened, I put my hand in front of my eyes and blocked out the television. Because I said it out loud. I said, I do not want to see a man's dick explode. I don't want to see it because I know that's going to happen. And I turned away and I didn't watch it. I was listening and I peeked through my fingers to see what was going on. And then I saw that, that universal motion, oh shit, I'm going to sneeze. And I went, oh, close the eyes.
See, I didn't realize what was happening. I looked at his face like, what does he smell something? And then I realized it like a split second too late, and then just explode. Oh, it was glorious. Glorious.
He sneezed before he actually shrunk. Like as soon as he did a bump, he sneezed, and I'm like, oh, that's foreshadowing right there. So yeah, The Boys, episode 1. Like it's shocking how much like
Marvelous.
they're like, I don't know, 57 to 69% of their budget is on fake blood. Just
Probably.
assuming that. It's grotesque, but so entertaining.
The only problem I have with The Boys is that we've seen 2 episodes and we haven't gotten to Soldier Boy yet.
He's supposed to make his appearance in episode 3. I've read that.
I know. I'm impatient.
I mean, they did have photos of him, so
Yeah, they're
you've technically
teasing.
seen.
They're doing the tease.
I am sufficiently teased.
It's so good. It's such
Yeah,
a good
you
show.
are.
I'm assuming he's still alive, which is kind of interesting. Like, are we going to be seeing him exclusively through flashbacks, or did Soldier Boy?
No, he's alive.
From
Is he
things
still
that
alive?
I've seen, it's one of those like pseudo like Captain America frozen in ice or cryogenically frozen kind of things. That's what I'm picking up on.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. All right, cool.
Because like they're talking in the first episode, they're like, yeah, there's a gun. This gun killed Soldier Boy. Like, we're gonna find out.
Did it?
No, it is. No, there isn't. Nope. He is the gun. Yeah. Dun dun dun.
He's got guns. Welcome to
Oh,
the
I can't
gun
wait.
show.
And just like as a side note, the only show that I'm watching on my own is Better Call Saul, because I like Odenkirk. I think he's a really good actor, and I never actually was able to watch what's that?
Breaking Bad.
I was
Breaking
never
Bad.
able to watch Breaking Bad because of
Past trauma.
past and subject matter and all that stuff. But Odenkirk is great in that show, man. I'm sorry I waited so long. Like, I am coasting through it. He's doing a really good job. It's great subject matter. He's engaging, and all the cast of characters on the show are great. So I'm glad I have something in that universe to watch. And my wife is right. She actively said the best part of that show is Mike or Mikey, and that character is great. I don't know what he does, but he is phenomenal. He's this gruff ex-cop toll booth collector guy now that has this past, and he's done some shit and he's seen some shit, and he's just amazing. So I'm fully invested in that. That's going to be what I'm watching now when my lunches and whatnot. So, but yeah, The Boys.
The boys.
We still haven't watched any of Obi-Wan. We still haven't watched any of Russian Doll.
Stranger Things.
Nope. Haven't watched any of Stranger Things. And I am getting mixed reviews on Stranger Things from people.
Those people need to shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I could kind of see it like at first. The first episode.
Okay. Like
Most of the first
boring.
episode. Like this was what my mom thought of it the next day. She's like, first I thought, I guess they're not really doing this is kind of slow. There's not a whole lot of horror.
Okay.
And then they just hit you with all of it right at the end.
Okay.
And from what I've somebody I was talking to online who wasn't impressed with it at first, not overall impressed with it entirely by the end either, but like I guess is somebody who watches a lot of horror, and that's not me. So like it's not really doing anything I haven't seen before. It's doing shit I haven't seen before. So
Gotcha.
I think it's fucking great. I don't
Good.
know.
All right. So yeah, we'll end up sinking some time into that, I'm sure, soon, because this is they only released the first half, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
So it's
Okay.
first, what, 6,
And
7
I would
episodes?
like-
Seven-ish.
To repeat
They're
the
long.
thing that I'm
They're
seeing on the
beefy.
internet, don't get 11's tattoo, you fucking
Oh, yeah.
morons.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my
Correct.
god. People
People
come
are stupid.
on.
People are so stupid.
Like, please read a goddamn history book first. Thanks. That's my PSA.
Okay. Thanks. Bye. Oh wait.
Well, we watched all of Stranger Things. That shit was amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't
Okay.
get it in our eyeballs fast enough.
Okay.
Shit was amazing.
In fact, we stayed up till midnight to binge the last
binge it?
episode.
Damn.
Yeah, we because they're long. Like most of them are like an hour and a half at least. And
What?
Yeah.
we were like, shit, we really shouldn't. But it was the last episode, and the boys premiered the next day. I'm like, we got to do this, honey. We got to make this happen. So
Get yourself
we
a
did.
protein bar, honey. Get some ice water. We're going. We're doing this. Running the marathon.
We're running up that hill. And this show, no, that's not it.
What?
I'm just trying to look it up. Oh, 2016 is when this show started. Because I remember when it came out, like the first season, we were still in our old apartment.
Oh.
Oh
And
my gosh.
and I remember, like, Ellie was, I think it was before Ellie was born. I think I was pregnant with Ellie.
Mhm.
And it was like, we were like, well, we can't do this anymore. We can't like stay up late and be stupid and binge shows because now like we're gonna have a second kid and a baby and a toddler, and it's just it's just gonna be bad times. So this was like the first season of it was like the last time we were like, all right, we're gonna be stupid. We're gonna stay up late and watch this whole stinking thing. And like every time there's a new season, it just happens to coincide in our lives with an opportunity where we're like, all right, this is the show that we do it for, so let's just get stupid.
Might as well just get it out of the way.
It's worth it. I mean, it's that good.
Wow, they're all over an hour.
Yep.
Wow.
So tired.
But they didn't feel that way.
Okay.
That's what made it. What made me so happy about it. They didn't. None of them felt like they wasted much time.
Good.
I was hugely entertained by all of it.
It's shocking. Like, you are literally saying the opposite of what I heard earlier today from someone else that I thought would have a similar mindset to shows, because he and I have conversations about, Marvel movies and shit like that. And speaking of Marvel movies, due to the fact there was so much talk about Doctor Strange and Sam Raimi, I fell into the Ash versus the Evil Dead show again for like a couple of episodes because that shit is hysterical. But what he was saying, like the first episode was like super boring, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Usually, like, that's the recap, and they get you at least sort of primed for the rest of the season. And
they were catching up with all the characters' lives, and there wasn't a lot of horror going on. It was like,
Yeah, I think I even said it while we were watching.
you
It
said
was
it
like,
too,
there's
yeah.
a whole lot of these people's lives, but there's not really anything supernatural going
a
on.
whole lot of teen drama, but not a lot of, stuff.
Stranger Things.
But they kind of knocked a lot of that stuff out. Go on.
Got you. Well, and that's the thing. Like, it just made hearing that and then going, well, I know what The Boys is, and I know that's not going to be boring. So
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be boring.
Yeah,
So
after the
that's-
first episode, I tweeted like, "The Boys continues to not be fucking around."
straight up, not at
The thing
all.
I'll say about Stranger Things is that there is a lot going on. There's like,
There's like 3 different teams of characters that they keep having to switch between,
yeah,
like
'cause there's so
47
many
kids now, right?
characters now. Yeah, there's
and
a
they
lot
introduced
of
a
kids.
couple of new characters.
Oh no.
And like, they're worthwhile characters too.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just adding shit for the sake of adding it. Like, oh, I get why this character's here now, and that is interesting. Like, they have something to do with them. And honestly, the most boring of the 3 plot lines that were going on, like, there's the whole Nancy's love life is a part of the show, and I couldn't possibly care less. But by the end of the season, they just like there's one group of kids that's trying to travel across the country to get to the rest of them, and like, they just weren't even in the last episode of the season. They're like,
It was like
whatever.
the hobbits walking across the Shire. Like, yep, they're still walking.
Yep, they're still going. Go team. And like, they focused the entire last episode of the season on not them. So it was the weakest link. There's not much happening until they get where everyone else is. So boom, good.
It's actually 4 segments of story now that I think of it.
There's
Dustin and Co. There's Mike and 11, that group. There's the mom, Joyce and Marie, and then there's 11 where she is.
Oh, right, and there's yeah. All right, that is 4. Huh. Yeah, it's a lot to keep track of. Like, the run, it definitely uses its runtime, but it doesn't. It's handling it very well, I think. Like, it all seems like it's coming together very nicely, and season 5's the last season of the show, so
It's setting things up very.
yeah.
So we
it
have
does
another
seem to be
half of this season and then a whole nother season?
correct. And that's the next season is the ending of the show, and they do seem to be moving in that direction. They've answered some questions about the Upside Down and its connection, it's to various characters, etc. Like, they're just doing cool stuff. They're doing really cool stuff, I think. I have freaking loved it.
Good.
Just
Good.
loved it.
Well, that solves that, honey. We now have to watch it.
Well, I mean, I always knew that we were going to, so I'm not mad about it.
The fact that this has the show has been going on since my since before my now 5.5-year-old daughter was born, and there's still only 4 seasons, is kind of annoying.
It's only 4 seasons, and they're like 8 or 9 episodes a season. Like, I'm looking at this
Like,
season just
technically
released 7.
3.5 seasons.
Yeah, this season
Yeah,
just
what was it,
released
this,
7 episodes, and they're doing a whole nother half, or are they just adding another couple? Like, if that's the case,
It should be another
let's say
half.
they
and
just do
it's not
another.
long. It's July 1st is when the rest of the season drops. So what it smells to me like was Netflix's attempt at trying to find a different middle ground for the whole what happened to season 3. Like, you know, they do the every episode drops and then nobody's talking about it after a week, right? So they don't want to avoid, they wanted to avoid that happening, so they cut the season in half and had the second half show up a month later. So Stranger Things is still kind of being talked about right now, less so than the week-to-week shows, because that's just the nature of the beast, guys. But it's only July 1st, so yes, talk will die down by the end of the month. But then once July 1st rolls around, or even leading up to it, you're kind of going to get that back in there. So I still think that the Amazon approach seems to be the best one, where they drop a couple episodes a week. Seems to be a real nice middle ground, but.
I'm a fan of Apple, where they drop a couple at the beginning, like they drop 2 or 3 and then do a weekly, because then at that point, if it's worth watching, you can sort of backlog yourself. But yeah, no, it's Netflix's method is definitely not the right one to keep it in the lexicon, as we have stated before. But my question still stands: are they releasing a whole nother half, or is it just another couple of episodes? Do we know?
I think we know, but let me find out for sure.
I'm looking up right now. Stranger Things season 4. 1, 2, 7, 5, 9.
Who's gonna get to it first? Who's gonna get to it first?
7, 5,
So I'm seeing a list of 9.
There better not just be 2 more episodes. I will riot.
Riot. Yeah, it seems
Yeah,
volume
I'm
2
just
is only
seeing
2
2
more
more
episodes.
too.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, that
But
sucks
mind you,
ass.
they are 6 hours apiece, so that's
I'm
not
gonna have to
true.
find a day camp to put our kids in just to watch those 2 episodes.
All right, kids, time to grow up. We're all watching Stranger Things together. But I don't want to.
You're going to grandma's for the day.
So yeah,
Oh, boy.
that's it for us. Like we're caught up. What about you guys? Other than boys and Stranger Things.
Did you want to tackle the rest of what we've been watching together, dear?
Yeah, sure, why not? Let's see. So, boys, fantastic. We're only 2 episodes in. We want more. We already just talked about Stranger Things. Obi-Wan is lovely. We haven't talked about that on the show yet.
That is
right?
an interesting
No.
word to use. It's lovely.
No, I just think it's wonderful.
Okay.
It looks great. It's being fantastically acted. I still haven't. I mean, Hayden Christensen has not uttered a line.
Has he been
which
in
has
it?
He's been in it. He's
Okay.
in the suit.
Okay.
So Vader showed up in the 3rd episode, and he's the one who's in the suit, but James Earl Jones is voicing him. So
So we were
Why
kind of
even
like,
bother?
why is Hayden Christensen here?
and then there was a scene where Obi-Wan thought he saw him, like he was hallucinating, kind of, and there was Hayden Christensen. It's like, oh, I guess that's why I paid him to be here.
The burn version, though, right?
No. This is like PTSD Obi-Wan.
Oh, got it.
And dude, we talked about this on SAG. I'm not going to dive into it too much, but fans are just, quote unquote fans, are just ripping this thing to shreds. Because of one, there's an Inquisitor character who is a black woman, and she's a black woman. So now, obviously, they're not complaining about her being a black woman. They would never do that. They're not racist, but.
But we're Star Wars fans.
I
and
saw
we're
the single
purists.
greatest GIF I've ever seen in my life in a Star Wars comment thread. It's episode 1 when Darth Maul, they face off against him for the first time. And he takes his lightsaber and he does the one side, and then the other side comes out. He does the one side and says, "I'm not racist, but." Like, oh my God. It is so good. Oh, it's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, just fundamental misunderstandings of some pretty obvious lines. Like, first off, everyone hates on little Leia. And we were kind of, the only complaint we had about Leia was that she didn't look old enough to be 10 years old. But apparently the
actress
10
is
years
in fact
old.
10 years old.
She's just tiny.
Small.
Like
She's-
Carrie Fisher. So
So she's not TV 10 years old, which would make her 19.
17.
something like that. No, she's so much smaller than our kids.
Right.
Gosh.
We're
Ellie's
8 and
5, and she looks like Ellie.
She really does. She looks like she's about 6 years old.
Oh, but she's great. She is so, and like people are complaining about how sassy she is, and like that's not Leia's personality. Like, bitch, did
What?
you watch the original trilogy? What are you talking about? She walked right up to Darth Vader. Was just like, what? Get the fuck off my ship. I'm on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. Prove I'm not, motherfucker. Like, what are you talking about? Of course this is little kid Leia. 100% little kid Leia. Carrie Fisher would have loved this little girl. The most
I know,
recent
me
one.
too, Ange.
God, the most recent one. In the most recent episode, there is this really great line because Leia doesn't know who her birth parents are. She knows she's adopted.
Right.
And she's with Obi-Wan, and she's like, "Are you my dad?" And
Are you my daddy?
And he looks at her and says, "I wish I was," because like he sees everything that she's going through, and he was just thinking about Anakin, and it's like he wishes he could give her an answer that was not, "Well, your dad was
Kind of a dick.
he killed a lot of kids." I mean, like just a lot.
Just
I
straight
mean,
up
an
murdered him.
uncomfortable amount of children killing.
He might be
Yeah.
the worst in the
And-
galaxy. Far, far away.
And so naturally, the internet's read of that line is, "Oh, so now they're introducing a love triangle where Obi-Wan wanted to get with Padme. What is that about?" Like, that's not what that means. He wasn't telling the little girl, "Yeah, I wish I banged your mom." That's not what that scene was. How did you get to that from that?
How did you not,
morons?
Kris? Are you really a fan? Are you
Clearly
not
I'm not, 'cause
thirsty?
I like Star Wars. I mean, like, there's been some stupid stuff, like not quite the chase scene from Boba Fett slow, but like there's this chase scene in the first episode where like she's 10. 10-year-olds aren't that fast, especially when they're that small, but like 5 grown-ups are chasing her through the woods, and like minor inconveniences are like a tree branch gets in his way and he stops and goes, "Argh!" Like she got away. If only I could duck under this branch. Like it was the most I can't say it was the most ridiculous car chase scene, because that Boba Fett episode will always exist and just absolutely wears that crown with pride. But it was a little bit of a silly chase scene of her outrunning all these dudes to eventually then not outrun them and get caught anyway. And there was this other great one, and I'm thinking about this the whole time I'm watching it. They come to this gate, right? And it's this laser gate. And I
Okay.
see why the laser gate is there, because it was set up for a railing kill later where a dude fell into the laser gate and got chopped in half, and it was fucking awesome. But they couldn't get past the laser gate and without unlocking it. And I'm looking at it like, there's nothing on either side. Like
It's across a road. Like you couldn't drive a vehicle past the laser gate without it being open, but they had gotten out of the vehicle and were like running around fighting. Like you could go around the outside of the gate, no problem.
and no problem. I mean, like there was an incline, like it was kind of a hill. Like it might have, he might have need to bend his ankle a couple of degrees extra to get through it at most. But not sure what they were thinking on that one, but whatever. But these are like little tiny things in an otherwise just immensely entertaining show. Like another one, Vader shows up in episode 3 and starts. He's violent. He's Darth Vader right now. Obi-Wan hasn't touched his lightsaber in 10 goddamn years, and everyone's like, Obi-Wan should have been able to stand up to Vader at this point. Like, the first 3 episodes of this show are about how this guy hasn't done shit with the Force and buried his lightsaber in the middle of the desert for 10 goddamn years. You try doing something, not doing something for 10 years, and then picking it up against Darth motherfuckering Vader. Like, what are you talking about?
Darth
God
motherfuckering Vader. I love
That
it.
needs to be a T-shirt.
Just the complete lack of ability to see subtext, or even just basic understanding of how storytelling works.
You
And
sit down
it's
and drink
all-
your chocolate milk talking about subtext.
I already drank my chocolate milk, motherfucker. That's how I know about subtext. And it's so infuriating because it's like they're just looking for a reason to hate this show, probably because of the Reva character. Like, it's woke Disney. It's got to be shit. It's all shit. Shit. Like, no, it's not. It's actually pretty good. I got your complaints on Boba Fett. Believe me. I loved the show, but I will not blame anyone for hating on it. For the right reasons, obviously. That show was a mess. But I really enjoyed it because I love Star Wars, and there was a lot of really fun stuff in it.
Hey guys, did you know Kris loves Star Wars?
What?
This isn't that.
Shock face.
I don't know if you
it's
can
like
hear
that
it,
meme
but
I
this is
sent
my
you the other
surprise.
day where it's like two people in a fist fight and then a third person sitting in a lawn chair like eating popcorn and watching, and they're all labeled Star Wars fans.
Yep. So I'm not engaging in the discourse. I'm not engaging at all. I'm not having these arguments with anybody. You want to hate on this show? Have at it. I found a nice little niche of people that are Star Wars fans that just like Star Wars and they talk about Star Wars in positive light and enjoy all the stuff. And like, yay,
You
that's
found
great.
Your, you
That's
found
all
your
I want.
tribe.
It's not even much of a tribe. It's like one YouTube channel, and like the guy does like really great deep dive lore stuff, and he's really positive. He and his wife do this whole question and answer show. It's wonderful. So that's where I'm at. I was shocked to find that people were hating on this show after the first episode. I was like, well, this seems to be exactly what everyone wanted, and a foolish me.
Silly you. Never be that way.
Clearly, you're out of touch.
But he looks great. I mean, getting into the robes and the beard again. I mean,
Yeah, he looks the part. And he's playing it. He's playing it well too, because this is like seriously damaged Obi-Wan here, and
There's nothing
It's
Ewan
a- it-
McGregor can't do.
I think so. I think you're correct in saying that.
he's lovely. It's a great show. I can't
Okay.
wait till tomorrow. Except, Disney Plus, they did what I was really hoping they'd never do. New episodes of Obi-Wan drop on Wednesdays, and Miss Marvel premieres on Wednesday. We've got a Marvel and a Star Wars show going at the same time. Guys, stop. You could Miss Marvel.
have
You could have
so
waited
much
three
content.
more weeks for Miss Marvel. You could have done it. You're not gonna mess up the world by waiting 3 more weeks for Ms. Marvel. Just let us finish Obi-Wan first. Come on. I got so much to watch right now.
Okay, well, speak for yourself because I don't really care about Obi-Wan as much as I care about Ms. Marvel, so I am here for it.
Oh, like you don't have enough to watch that you couldn't stave off 3 more weeks to
Very
let us
true.
have
Chris,
this.
I could
Come
stave
on.
off 3 more years and I'd be
You
fine,
haven't
okay?
even.
I am not the person you want to talk to about that.
You haven't even started Stranger Things yet. Come on.
See?
You've got plenty to
Exactly.
keep you busy.
Well, if I have to make choices, I'm just saying, dropping Star Wars would be a difficult one for me.
I'm tomorrow. I plan the fingers crossed. We got the night off, but we have an episode of The Boys we haven't hit yet. We still have like the season finale of Law and Order. Not that that's like super pressing because it's not like there's an overarching story to follow. Nobody's spoiling that for me. But like we're just kind of clawing on here. Like I'm not going to get 3 episodes in tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. So it's got to be Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan. I think that's my vote. But I don't know.
Hard choices. at
Hard
this
choices.
point.
Hard choices.
Man, this sounds rough.
Earlier today, I made an attempt at watching a show I discovered at my dad's house. So my dad was losing his shit over just trying to work his remote or whatever. Because I was telling him about
He's a
The
true
Boys.
old man,
I'm like,
you guys.
did you watch The Boys yet? He's like, oh, what's The Boy or is that one? How do I find that one? And I
What
turned
are
on his
boys?
TV. And I'm like, all right. You watched the first season of this show at least. I remember we talked about it. So this is what it is, and this is where it is. Then he was trying to find some show with robots in it. He's like, it's a show. There's one of the words in the show title is robots, and I don't even know where it is. And of course, it was a Netflix show, and it wasn't showing up in his recently watched Netflix queue.
Wait, can I guess? Was it Love, Death, and Robots?
It was Love, Death, and Robots.
Fuck
So I
yeah.
added that to my list. He loves that. He thought it was phenomenal.
because it's
so-
amazing and everyone
Yeah.
should watch it.
So it's on my list now. It's a long list, but it's on my list. But when we were searching through his Netflix history, I came across a show called Taco Chronicles.
Okay, now.
A what?
No.
I was like, excuse me?
Taco
Taco Chronicles?
I don't know if you know, but today is Taco Tuesday.
So
Taco,
we
you said?
we put a pause on the search. I was like, Dad, I'm going to need to take a look at this, okay? And it's just a show about people making tacos. And I was like, okay, I've seen enough. Sign
It's
me
like
suck
every
up.
episode is a different kind of taco. Is that
That's
right?
that's what it seems to be. I watched most of the first episode, which unfortunately was not what I was hoping it was going to be. In almost every way, it's just people making tacos, but the whole thing's in Spanish.
Oh no.
So it's subtitled, but I can't background watch it because I'm way too interested in what's going on. So it requires my full attention, and I'm like,
How
damn.
very dare.
I really want this in the background all the time. Like, just constant. And I'm sure once I've watched it once or twice, I'd be able to do it. But now I got to watch this, like, really watch it. And it's it's just tacos.
Taco.
So great.
Taco.
What
What was the name of the other one that he's watching? Love what?
Love, Death, and Robots.
Love, Death,
Love,
and
Death,
Robots.
and
Yeah,
Robots.
okay, go. Sorry.
The only other thing I'll talk about is we discovered that there were the new episodes of Floor's Lava is out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Is that
Boy.
really a discovery, though?
No, listen, because here's the thing. Surprise number one. They made a show out of The Floor is Lava.
Yes.
Surprise number two. It's watchable. It's actually
no.
interesting and entertaining and pretty good. Surprise number three. The second season, it got better.
I don't.
The first season wasn't good, so getting better means maybe it was borderline good.
Oh.
I mean, now just imagine watching it with kids. Like,
See, like, maybe. Yes. I can
That's-
maybe see that.
I tune out most of the time watching this show, but every now and then I'll like just, while the kids are watching it and having a good time, it's something that I can have the kids watch that doesn't annoy me in the background and is vaguely interesting. Like looking, off in the corner, like, oh, is he going to make that jump? Ah, he didn't make that jump. That's pretty funny. But they put thought into season 2, which is not what I expected at all. Like, this show was clearly like, all right, we got this idea. Let's throw as little money as possible at this and go forward. And this, for season 2, they put thought into how they can make it better without really increasing the budget. And, like, they changed it so that host guy is actually in the room with them instead of just, like, rando announcer guy. Like, there's like a balcony above whatever's happening. So the host guy's up there commentating live as that's all happening, which already has a pretty positive effect on the feel of the show because it feels more interacted with. But what's better is after that, all the teams every team that finishes then goes up into the balcony and commentates along with them.
Okay, that's
which is like kind of fun. And they added a like
Real
third
lava.
competition thing. So yes, real lava.
No.
So like 3 teams go, and then the 2 teams that do the best have to compete against like basically the aggro crag from Nickelodeon Guts, right? It's the Floor's Lava version of that. There's a big fucking mountain, and it's got the liquid pouring all down it, and you got to work together to race to the top of it, and whoever gets to the top is the winner, not just whoever makes it across with the most people. Seriously, the budget must have increased maybe like 5% total, and they improved the show thoughtfully. And that's what's impressive. I'm not saying this is a work of art. I'm not saying this is amazing. What I'm saying is that they put effort into it is amazing. That is what's amazing there.
All right.
Wait,
And
actually
that's
try.
all I got. What do you
So,
got, Karen?
Don't touch the floor because the floor is lava. Yeah, so aside from those things, not a whole lot. I changed my background show to Sports Night for a couple days, binged like half a season of that. And then I switched over to the Umbrella Academy, so I've rewatched season 1 of that. Plan to get through the second season within the next week or two, so that I'll be ready when season 3 comes out. because we're in the summer, the TV juggernaut summer, y'all.
Yep.
But I'm really like noticing little details and new things and loving it just as much as I ever did. God, I love that show. I'm
My
still
favorite
working
line from that show is still when he talks about robbing the village of their idiot.
Yeah.
I like that will always stay with me. Sorry, continue.
And like just sort of kind of like noticing little like things about like watching it, having already watched it, sort of like, oh, like this was part of, Reginald Hargreaves' plan, or oh, I see what like Vanya's boyfriend was doing like this whole time. Like every line that guy says is calculated. And you don't notice it as much until you know what he's doing. So it's pretty interesting. Still working my way through the final season of Grace and Frankie. I'm not there yet, but it's same as it ever was. They now have a plot where I have like 4 episodes left, and there's a plot line going where Frankie saw a psychic, and the psychic told her when she's gonna die, and it's like 3 months from now. So now they're going around with like dealing with her having the assumption that she believes this, that she's gonna die in 3 months, and like the rest of the cast trying to convince her like that's not gonna happen, and you need to stop all these crazy things you're doing. So that's what's driving it at this point. And the other thing that I watched that is interesting, this was in our newsfeed, but because it provided a new piece of content that I was interested, I went ahead and watched the YouTube, the Bo Burnham Inside Outtakes.
Oh, okay.
Which was pretty cool. I mean, it's worth your time if you really, really loved Inside and you're really like into the concept of like how things are made and behind the scenes and all of that, because it's like it's part like documentary of how it was made, it's part like behind the scenes, it's part just alt takes of things, it's part like kind of view into the mind of somebody who's going nuts while working on a solo project in complete isolation. There's a few new pieces of material that you can see why they were cut, but at the same time, it's like there's a brief little song about how they're really gonna fucking make me vote for Joe Biden.
That's kind of something.
And the whole thing is framed like I put it on and there's I scrolled up on my Apple TV to see the like how long it is, the little bar at the bottom that tells you how long. And when you watch a YouTube video and there's a commercial, there's a little break in the bar to tell you when the commercial's going to be. And it had a bunch of those, and I was like, damn, this thing has a lot of commercials in it. And then they weren't commercials, they were bits that he filmed. But he styled them like they were YouTube ads, down to like putting the little button in the bottom that says like video will continue after this ad.
Damn.
Nice. So it's
There
like
were like
chapters
little
almost.
pop-ups
Nice.
in it that
Nice.
like little pop-up ads every once in a while. So it was a pretty interesting thing if you really love Inside, or if you're just really into like that kind of thing, like I said, how things are made. I would say it's worth a watch. It's like it's an hour, so it's not a ton of your time to ask.
Cool.
And yeah, I think that's the ball game for me. So let us retire to our break chambers that we all have, and for our break while you nice people listen to some commercials, and we'll be right back after this.
And now, here's a quick look at some of the other original content available now from our partners and Geekade.com.
First up, if you've ever played Solstice for NES, you may not know that there was a direct sequel on the Super NES. It's called Equinox, and apparently it's quite good. It's developed by Software Creations and published by Sony. And Equinox brings isometric arcade action to Nintendo's 16-bit machine. But what more do you need to know about it? Are there dark secrets lurking just underneath the surface? Joe and Greg have some thoughts on the matter. And if you want to hear them all, give a listen to the SNES podcast, episode 190, Equinox. Or Equinox, however you want to say it.
Next, do you like dogs? Sure you do. Me? I hate them. I just can't stand the little buggers. Fortunately, I don't have any dogs.
It's true.
Unfortunately for Stone Age Gamer podcast co-host Dan, his house is positively lousy with dogs.
Also true.
He's got so many dogs, he doesn't know what to do with them all. But maybe you do. Maybe you're in the market for some of the best darn beagles you've ever met. Maybe you aren't. I don't know your life. But you should be, because everyone needs dogs. Yes, dogs, plural. Except me, of course. Get yourself a furry friend at Safe at Home Rescue. Easily a top 5 animal rescue with Easily a top 5 animal rescue with a baseball putt in the name.
Finally, video game music podcasts are everywhere. There are literally dozens and dozens of them, including Geekade's very own show, Waveback. Kris and Matt have teamed up with a number of those other VGM podcasts to bring the world a special event called Masters of VGM, a month-long series of shows highlighting the best in the world of video game composers. This week, they talked about Kris's picks, and while they probably aren't exactly surprising to anyone who knows him, they're all worthy of the title, Master of VGM. Check out Waveback, episode 151, Masters of VGM, Volume 1.
For all this great content and more from us and our partners, be sure to check out geekade.com.
And we're back. So today we're talking about the pilot of Yellowjackets. The show premiered on Showtime last year, 2021. And I picked this for no other reason than it was a critically acclaimed show that I felt like I missed out on with a cast that I thought I'd like. So, the show tells the story of members of a 1996 New Jersey high school soccer team whose private plane crashed on the way to a national competition, and the survivors who were rescued 19 months later. The show has 3 different timelines: the days leading up to the plane crash, the time between the plane crash and the rescue, and the current day, which is about 20-some years after the crash. All the big-name actors in the cast play the modern-day versions of the team members. You have Juliette Lewis as the angry rebel Natalie, Christina Ricci as the overly enthusiastic equipment manager Misty, Melanie Linsky as the team star Shauna, and Tawny Cypress as aggressive go-getter Thaisa. So the pilot opens with a pretty gory scene of some figures dressed in fur, and they can't see their faces, and they're chasing a teenage girl that you also don't know who she is. And she falls to her gruesome death impaled in a pit of sharpened sticks. Further flashbacks.
Fatality.
Indeed.
Some of the best sound effects I've ever heard, by the way.
Further flashbacks to this timeline show the girl's body being prepared, cooked, and eaten by the hooded figures whose identities we still don't learn except for one of them. The rest of the show bounces between the past, where we see some pretty standard high school drama, stolen boyfriends, and a conspiracy to freeze out a weaker team member, and the present day. In the present, Shauna is a bored suburban housewife and mom, pretty unsatisfied with her life. Thaisa has a wife and child and is running for state senate. Natalie is just getting out of rehab and returning to Jersey after a long absence. And Misty works as an aide in an assisted living facility. A reporter is sniffing around Shauna's life, trying to get her to sign a book deal to tell her survivor story. She claims not to be interested and not in contact with the other girls, but by the end she's secretly contacted one of the other girls and is worried the truth of their story will come out. So, that's this show in a nutshell, at least the first episode, and I would love to hear what you guys think.
I want to know first, did you go further than that episode?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
I did today for context because I want to let Evan share his thoughts first, and then I want to explain why I did what I did.
Alrighty.
Okay. So the show was watchable. Like there was an odd amount of sexuality in it for me for some reason. Like it seemed like unnecessary sexuality. I'm curious, is this a true story? Like, is it based on something in reality? Because I looked at that show and I went, 96, that's when I was graduating high school. And I looked at all the things, I went, all of this tracks, all of this stuff, like I've done this stuff in New Jersey, like all of this makes sense. I don't remember hearing anything about this. So I'm just going to assume it's not real, that this is just a made up story.
The show is, according to Yahoo, the show is not entirely based on a true story, but certainly seems to be inspired by the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 disaster.
So that was with the male soccer team, right?
Yeah,
They crashed in the Andes.
Plane crash in the Andes. They ate each other.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. All right, I had that feeling, but I wasn't 100% on that. At the end of the episode, I had no urge to watch anymore. I never got attached to any of the characters. I wasn't engaged. I didn't want to know any more. Like I don't want to say bored. Like I sat through it and the show was, like I said, watchable.
It's okay, honey. You can say it. It's just not Girls 5 Eva.
It's definitely not Girls 5 Eva. Absolutely
Definitely not. Holy crap.
It was neat to see how they put my senior year of high school on television.
Yeah,
Evan
we all
called
pretty
out.
much grew up in Jersey in the 90s, and
There was a lot. I felt triggered for a lot of scenes. I'm not gonna lie. The most upsetting part for this episode for me was when they were in the locker room getting riled up for their game, and they were singing whatever song that they were singing, and you could obviously tell that these girls were forced to learn this song because there was no zest to their singing of it. Like, this is not like you're singing a 1990s song. I get what you're trying to do here, but none of these girls were alive in the 90s. Nobody in that room
Well, they were
knows what that
probably
song
alive
was.
in the 90s, but they may have just been born. Like at the tail end.
It's 20-something years ago.
Yeah,
Remember?
but they were showing.
Anywho, I don't want. It wasn't for me. Like I'm done with it. So,
that's completely fair.
like I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good enough for me to keep watching. How's that? Now, why did you continue?
So
Honey
last
Love?
night when we watched it, one of the feelings that we got when we were like done with the episode was like there was a lot going on for a first episode, and it was one of those things that has happened in pilots where, for me at least, I'm being introduced to this world of a lot of different characters. It's flashing back and forth. I don't always know the context of who the character is well enough for me to make the connection that definitely was that character, and I'm having a hard time feeling connected to them. Also, the overt, like literally starting the episode off with introducing a character being fingered by her boyfriend who is doing a piss poor job. So awkward,
God.
just like put me right back into my teenage years. But also, like, this is the same thing I had the first time I watched American Horror Story, where there was like an unnecessary amount of like sexual content in the first 15 minutes of the episode, and I was like, why the fuck is this happening? And it turned me off of American Horror Story for a very long time. And when I finally went back to the series and was able to get past all of my rage, I was able to get to the rest of the story. And I think that's just like a shock value thing that people put into shows like this, because the point of a show like this is that in some ways it's a psychological thriller, but it's also it's a drama, and it's meant to be horrific in many ways and make people uncomfortable. And what better way to make people uncomfortable than make adults feel like they're watching some weird version of child pornography, because it's gross.
And also, this is on a what used to be considered a premium cable channel. So I feel like Game of Thrones did a lot of this too, where it's like, we're going to throw like whatever kind of nudity and sex that we want on screen because we can.
Yeah.
And like, that's why you watch us over anything else, is because we have
We're edgy.
the privilege and the edge to be able to do this.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm there for. So like that was definitely something that challenged my desire to watch the show, but because I've kind of been there, done that at this point, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever, fine, fuck you and your dumb, stupid bullshit. But then moving through the episode, the reason why I ended up wanting to watch the second one was because I do love this premise of like there's definitely this, this mystery of this unspoken stuff that happened, and then on top of that, like, I want to know like how they went from being these girls that are just being high school students in the 90s to this like weird tribe of fucked up people. And I also just wanted to see in the second episode if I would get a little bit more clarity. I wanted to see if the way that they were cutting back and forth would start to make a little bit more sense, if I would feel any more connected, or if I would just feel more adjusted to the way that they were, doing their storytelling. And I think this episode was easier to follow, so it is becoming more digestible. There's still stuff that in the second episode, as I was watching it, I was like, oh man, like some of these characters seem a little over the top and obnoxious to me. Like sometimes when they're acting, I'm like, wow, you are acting. But overall, like I want to know where this story goes. And I was hoping that this was not going to be a multi-season thing. I thought this was going to be like a short thing. It's not.
Limited series, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately not.
But that's okay. Like, I think it's pretty cool. Like, again, this is that weird kind of twisted stuff that, like, I like horror, and I like, especially, like, anything that puts people in a survival situation and they have to overcome things. I have, like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with my brain, but I am here for it. Like, I practically sit there taking notes. So this premise is already appealing to me, and additionally, I'm looking forward to getting away from all of that other drama that these girls were experiencing and seeing more of the adult stuff, like not the adult content per se, but the adult characters, if you will. And I like seeing the dynamic of these women who have now matured to an age where they have children of their own and dealing with children in the modern, like in this era. I think there's something that's just very relatable about that too. Like when the mom is talking to, what was her name? Shauna? Shauna. Yeah. Like, it's like she's trying to talk to her daughter and she's just on her phone. It's just things like that where I'm like, yeah, I see it. I get it. I feel for you, because even as a teacher, I'm dealing with those things. So I really like that. And also Christina Ricci, like, interesting casting. I like her in this role. I'm very curious about this. Like, also, I think she's going to be knucking futz.
Yeah, I mean, so far of what they showed of that character, it's, scary.
Yeah, episode 2, just so you know, made it worse.
I'm sure. Yeah, she was probably the main driving factor in the cast of like, oh, Christina Ricci's in a show, and people say it's good. I want to see it.
But the woman who plays the drug addicted chick that is like the rebel,
Juliette Lewis?
Julia, I really fucking cannot stand her. I just need to say that. I'm so sorry. I don't
like in this role.
No,
or as
like
as
in
a person,
general.
as,
Like
as a human?
like she's one of those faces that when she shows up on screen, I kind of want to punch it. I really
the screen or her face?
Yes, all of it. Yes,
Okay.
I like in this, I think it's in previous things, like I've seen her play roles where she was just really fucking stupid and weak-minded in roles that I've seen her in previously. I'm trying to remember the one that like infuriated me the most, that kind of set that bar for every other time I saw her and had this visceral reaction. At least in this one, she's like trying to be a little bit more badass, but sometimes when she's trying to form words, I feel like her mouth and her brain have a disconnect. I really do. I just can't.
Wow.
Like, there's something about her. I am sure that she is a wonderful human. I really do not think she deserves that level of criticism, but I just have to be honest. Like, it's really, really hard for me to watch her when she's on screen.
See, for me, for life, she's just Audrey from Christmas Vacation.
Same here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, wow. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. So, what was her name in Natural Born Killers? Mallory. Like, that was the role that I first recognized her in. Like, she's played some interesting characters in her career, but.
Meanwhile, while we're on the cast, I was looking them up today, look at everybody's names so I could get into the script, and I'm like going, the Shauna check, I'm like, her face is so goddamn familiar. What do I know her from? I'm looking up her IMDb, and I'm like, she's done a lot of stuff, but like, I've never watched that. Like, how the hell do I know her? And I get down to almost the bottom, the beginning of her career. She played one of the stepsisters in the Drew Barrymore version of Cinderella. Ever After. She was the nice one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's her!
Yes.
She's the one that Angelica Houston was like pissed off at all the time because she was actually nice to Cinderella.
Yeah. She's also in Coyote Ugly, just in case anybody cares.
Who are we talking about?
The mom who kills the rabbit in the garden.
Okay.
In the garden. She's the one who's got like the teenage daughter. She was
the best friend.
the best friend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, got you.
Christopher, your thoughts?
Nope. It was clearly very well put together. This really fell very similar in the position of like Breaking Bad. Like, I don't need this kind of negativity in my life. There's no positives happening here. It's just all sadness and bad stuff, and I got enough of that. I don't mind some. I can laugh at the boys. You know, this is like there's nothing funny here. This is just horror, like in every respect, every single meaning of the word. And if that's your thing, then I don't blame you in the least. Like, do it. Watch it because it looks like it's good. It's what it's doing, but I don't need that. They're all gonna just keep getting more fucked up and eating each other, and I'm sure it's gonna be very interesting how that happens. But like, fuck, I needed a hug when I was done with that show.
Yeah.
I'm good. Obi-Wan Kenobi going through PTSD for chopping his friend's legs off is about as dark as I need to be in my life right now. So. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm out.
Yeah, it was very much darker than I expected. I did not know that about it when I chose it. And I don't want to say unpleasantly surprised, but I was definitely surprised. And like you were saying, like, The Boys is, arguably more gory, but that's a dark comedy. This is a psychological horror thriller drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this shit's grim.
It's extremely grim.
What is the name of the book about the
Lord of the Flies?
Lord of the Flies. Like that's this story, and the overtness of it is just a little too much. So
yeah, there's definitely some like graphicness to the violence that, again, I think is along the same lines of it being from a premium cable thing. The same
And it
thing
has
with the
to prove
sex,
it.
where it's like, look what we can show. They're going to have this, girl's body hanging from a tree and show the blood draining out of it.
Oh, it gets worse.
I'm sure it does.
Yes, but was it a tiny man exploding inside of another man's dick?
See, this is the thing.
No,
it's what
it
follows
was
up
it was a
immediately
tiny woman
afterwards.
exploding inside of a fucking underage I can't even like. Ugh. I'm so mad at the show for doing that. I really am. That's like the one thing where I'm like, it just makes me. I work with children, man. This makes me so uncomfortable.
Yet you watched 2 whole episodes of it.
Yeah, because because now they're in the woods and everything is great.
Oh, yeah. Sounds fantastic.
No men around.
Doesn't sound like it's great for them.
Doesn't
Nope,
sound like
and
any
that's
men
fine.
survived the crash.
No, it doesn't seem that way.
Do you want spoilers? Do you want to know?
I don't. Because here's the thing, like, Kris is right. We don't need this kind of negativity in our lives. And normally, like, this would be the kind of thing that, on face value, if I had known that about this at the start, I would have been like, oh well, that's nice, but I'm not going to watch it because, like, I just can't handle things that are that dark. But now that I've seen one, I'm like, I want to know how the fuck all this happened.
So I'll spoil it all
I'm
for you at the
genuinely
end.
interested, but, like, I'm also genuinely interested in, like, I mean...
But it would need it would need, like, an extremely silly palate cleanser after every episode.
So when the little guy went into and made the guy's dick explode, the following of him yelling, "He's trying to get into my ass. He's trying to get into my ass." Is a palate cleanser. That's what you need, right? Is that
Exactly.
balance?
Someone trying to get into your ass is what you need.
Boys, oh my god. Anywho,
That show does not disappoint, man.
I think I'll first probably read some spoilers and find out what happened because I'm curious. But
I mean, like, do you think this was like you watched it? Do you think it was acted well?
I think the adults were.
Okay, all right. So I mean,
I
Christina,
Evan does not.
I don't really have an opinion. I
feel like you mentally checked out.
the lady who killed the rabbit, I was like,
okay, so
kill
yes.
the rabbit, kill the rabbit.
That's the path you went down.
Honestly, I went down that too, so thank you for that.
I think Melanie is her real name. Shauna. I thought she was well acted, but everybody else, Juliette Lewis was absolutely not believable at all. And then Christina Ricci, right? Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
It was like she was like someone poorly explained to her what her character should be, and it was like just over the top. Like it didn't hit right for some reason for me.
But that's how I feel whenever she's on screen. Her roles never I don't know. There's something about her that just rubs me the wrong way.
I'm trying to find her on this listing here to find out other things to see if I can remember.
What, Christina Ricci or Juliette Lewis?
Christina Ricci. Like, I know Juliette.
You know, she was perfect as Wednesday Addams, but that was ages ago.
Oh,
She was wonderful in Speed Racer, but everyone was wonderful in Speed Racer. So
Oh my god, what were you smoking?
nothing. It's joy. That movie's amazing.
Everyone was wonderful in Speed Racer. Okay.
Goddamn right.
You guys, we recently took the kids to the movies, and I went to the snack counter to get the popcorn while Kris took the kids into the theater to get seats.
Mm-hmm.
And at the movie theater, on their name tags, they have like, "My name is whatever, my favorite movie is," and and the guy at the counter's favorite movie was Speed Racer. And I was like,
That was a lie.
Here's the other guy. I found him.
There are dozens of us, okay? Dozens.
Like, I
Literal
should have sent Kris
dozen.
to get the popcorn. He could have had a very
And we are all
delightful
And then- but-
conversation.
But at that point in time, you
movie
wouldn't
is
have
a
had popcorn
masterpiece.
because you would have just been sitting out there. And what about this part?
I love
Kris,
that
you're
movie.
so wrong.
Buffalo 66. Black Snake Moan. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it sounds like this was a miss for most of us, and I do apologize.
Nothing to apologize
This is
about.
why
Not for
I
me.
usually don't go into things blind. I'd like to know a little bit, and I do feel a little guilty for, you guys having wasted your precious together time on this.
So,
I
don't-
had
It's not a
another.
waste.
No, don't do that. It's absolutely not the case. Like that's the thing. Like especially with how packed our schedules are, if there is something that we're inkling, like ooh, there's a tickle, maybe I want to. No, this forces us outside of the things that we are predictably going to watch. So,
Exactly. This forces us to watch things. It's one of the things I like about doing
And
this
that's
show.
why we do the show. That's
Yeah.
why they play the games, as you know, as John
Yes.
Sterling was once famously said. So yeah, I had another choice, and I mentioned it to Kris. And if it doesn't get brought up by the next time we go around to my turn, then my
okay.
next pick I think will be better.
Yeah, you were mumbling about doing an audible at a certain point, so I was curious
Yes,
as to what that was. But
and
I guess
I feel now that I should have, but live and learn. Whatever the next season, I guess in the fall I'll have another pick come up in the rotation. But thank you guys for watching it, and those of you out there in listener land, let us know if you watched it, what you thought of it. If you thought, if you took back the whole season and there's more to it, please do let us know. That's gonna wrap it up for us. My darling, loving husband, do you have a spiel?
I do. Just trying to put together the episode art real quick.
All right. See, I can see one of his two screens, and I'm like, well, the script is not on that screen. Wonder if it's on the other one.
I'm
Nope.
trying to see if I can find a better version of this picture, but I can't. And it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Sounds like
Anyway, this week's episode is not filmed before a live studio audience, but it is fueled by feedback from listeners like you. And you can get in touch with us in a multitude of ways. We have an official Geekade Discord where there's an entire This Week's Episode channel dedicated to all things TV talk. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram through the official Geekade channels or the more specific Twepcast account. And of course, the four of us can be found in various ways. I'm available on Twitter at Geekade Kris, that's Geekade Kris, and you can read my work at StoneAgeGamer.com and in the pages of Nintendo Force magazine. Karen, where can the good people find you?
They can find me at STM Stitches on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Etsy, and TikTok.
And where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere. But if you want to find my website, that's probably a good place to start. And that is my first and last name, AngelaFernot.com.
And Evan, where can people find you?
let's go with talesofcapebeer.com.
Word. If you need to know more about the shows we discussed tonight or what we'll be watching in the future, have a look at our show notes. And if you have any other questions at all, we can always be reached at mail@geekade.com. Just include the words "this week's episode" in the subject line so you know who we're trying to reach. Or so we know who you're trying to reach. I don't know. I can't talk. This show is available anywhere fine podcasts are sold, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. And wherever you decide to listen, please like, comment, subscribe, and leave reviews because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. God, I'm tired. Again, as always, keep your eyes on Geekade for more fresh, original content. Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, honey. Our next episode in 2 weeks will be our news episode, and the episode following that is our darling, lovely Angie's pick. So, Angie, what do you have for us?
All right, so you know how I was talking about how I love survival thrillers? Yeah, so sorry for more teen melodrama, but it made me want to revisit my original teen melodrama survival thriller series, The 100. So I have not watched this show in a minute, and we're all going to enjoy this wonderful experience of watching the pilot. So we're going to be watching season 1, episode 1, the pilot episode of The 100, and no, it will not be good. So sorry in advance.
Actively choosing something terrible is certainly a choice.
Is it?
Hey, you know what? Sometimes it works out, right? I'm really enjoying Master of the Universe movie, which is definitely not good, but holy crap, it's been a great cleanser after watching frickin' Lawnmower Man.
Dolph Lundgren at his fucking finest.
Well, put it
right?
this way. You're enjoying the half that you didn't fall asleep for.
That's true, but that was mostly because I was really comfortable and there was a dog on me. And it's an 80s sci-fi schlock movie, which is like my it's my happy place. It just calms me.
It's your comfort food.
It is.
All right. Well, you can check out how Kris feels about that movie on an upcoming episode of A Theater Near You podcast. But in the meantime, that's all we have tonight. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Karen.
I'm Angie.
I'm Evan.
Go Speed Racer, go!
Oh, fuck.
Good night.
And this concludes our broadcast day.